Have you ever run into an old friend after years and suddenly they show up with an incredible car, a massive house, and a completely different life? They didn't win the lottery. They didn't get lucky. They're using principles most people never see. In this video, I'm going to break down that strategy step by step and show you how you can use it too. Right now, everyone around you probably thinks you're just an ordinary person. And honestly, from their perspective, they're not wrong. You go to work in the morning, you come home in the evening, you eat dinner, maybe scroll through your phone before going to bed. To them, you look like thousands of other people they see every day. But the truth is something very different. While the world sees an ordinary life, you should be building something far greater in silence, an empire that no one notices until it's too late for them to compete. Niccolo Machiavelli called this the art of concealment, the discipline of appearing harmless while quietly accumulating real power. While you gather strength in the shadows, the world remains unaware. In The Prince, Machiavelli gives a powerful warning about power itself. He says that while it is better for a ruler to be feared than loved, there is one critical rule: never allow people to hate you. What does that mean for you today? It means build your wealth quietly, without provoking envy, without announcing your next move. Let your results speak later. Every person who has truly advanced in this world, from the clever merchants of history to modern billionaires, understands this rule. Take Warren Buffett as an example. He's one of the richest men alive, yet he still lives in a relatively modest home and drives simple cars. On the surface, he looks like a kind, ordinary old man who simply goes to work every day. But behind that calm exterior, he controls one of the most powerful financial empires on earth, an empire so influential that even politicians listen when he speaks. In public, he is quiet, humble, unimpressive. But that simplicity is actually a brilliant Machiavellian strategy, because when you appear calm and ordinary, people don't envy you, and they certainly don't realize how much money, influence, and power you're quietly moving behind the scenes. Remember this: the strongest power is the one nobody suspects, and that is exactly what you must become: a silent force, an invisible architect, the ordinary person whose influence spreads everywhere before anyone even notices. Rule 1. Look modest, build wealth. The first rule of becoming wealthy without attracting attention is simple. Keep your appearance modest while your pockets grow stronger, even appear average. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that people judge far more with their eyes than with their hands. In other words, most people confuse appearance with reality, so let them think you drive an ordinary car that disappears in traffic. Wear clothes that suggest you earn less than you actually do. Live calmly, not theatrically. When fortune smiles on you, don't broadcast it. Reinvest the money instead. Because every time you announce your success, you awaken envy. And envy always attracts resistance. Modern culture tells people that attention brings respect. But the wise understand something deeper. Attention is the enemy of progress. When your income increases, resist the temptation to immediately upgrade your lifestyle. Average people spend new money faster than they earn it. Wealthy people redirect it. Keep your external life stable while your internal world multiplies. Power that grows in silence expands far faster than power put on display. Every dollar you don't waste trying to impress someone becomes another soldier in your financial army. When you spend to impress others, you lose control. When you save and invest, you become untouchable. Move your money before your ego moves it. Machiavelli understood something profound about opportunity. He said, "Fortune is like a woman. If you want to keep her, you must pursue her boldly." What he meant was simple. Opportunity only yields to decisive action, But in our era, bold action isn't loud self-promotion. It is strategic movement. Rule 2. Make your money move. The second rule of building wealth in silence is learning how to move money before it disappears. Money that sits still is like an idle soldier. It weakens, it drifts away. Eventually, it dies. Inflation slowly consumes it every day. That $1,000 sitting quietly in your bank account is silently losing power. Wealthy people understand this. They constantly move their money into assets, ownership, leverage, and systems that multiply value. Centuries ago in Florence, merchants sent their ships across the Mediterranean. They knew some ships might sink, but the ones that returned came back filled with enormous wealth. Modern elites do the same thing with their capital. They invest it before time steals its value. You must train yourself to move money deliberately. The moment money reaches your hands, its destination should already be decided. Into an asset that grows, even while you sleep. Real estate, stocks, private businesses. These are the merchant ships of the modern world. The goal is not to hoard money. The goal is to activate it. Poor people cling to cash and watch it slowly disappear. Powerful people put money into motion and watch it multiply. Silence becomes your invisible armor. But the secret is not speed. The secret is precision and focus. Machiavelli wrote another powerful line in The Prince. He who builds his power on the people builds his house on mud. Financially, that means something very simple. Don't follow the crowd. Don't chase market hype or empty rumors. The masses gamble. Strategic thinkers invest. If you truly understand this era, how money is shifting from decay toward growth, from obligation toward leverage, you begin to see the hidden architecture of wealth. But there is an even deeper layer that most people miss. It's not only about where you place your money, it's about where you place your attention. Every minute spent comparing yourself to others, every moment wasted on meaningless distractions, is energy stolen from creation. Today, millions of people scroll through Instagram watching other people's wealth, while their own potential sits untouched. That's why Machiavelli emphasized isolation for clarity of mind. He wrote, "He who wishes to command others must first learn to command himself." In the modern world, that self-command begins with silence. Financial silence, social silence, mental silence. Because the moment you reveal your ambitions to everyone around you, you invite resistance. The moment you expose your next move, you surrender leverage. Your power decreases in direct proportion to how much you display it. So ask yourself, are you building in silence or shouting your ambitions to the world? Are you allowing people to think you're ordinary while your empire grows behind closed doors? Or are you still explaining your dreams to people who will never understand them? Because this is where the line is drawn between the dreamer and the powerful. The dreamer seeks approval. The strategist seeks victory. Machiavelli once wrote that a wise ruler must never depend on fortune. In other words, your survival should never rely on a single source of income or a single employer. Dependence is weakness wearing the disguise of security. The wealthy don't build threads of hope. They build networks of control. So the fifth rule of silent wealth is simple. Create multiple streams of income. A person who relies only on a job is like a king with a single castle, strong until the first siege. Every paycheck you receive should plant the seed of another income stream. Side businesses, digital assets, consulting, real estate. Each one is a small river that eventually feeds your private ocean of wealth. Modern elites understand this perfectly. Jeff Bezos didn't stop at selling books. He built a global marketplace, powerful logistics networks, and cloud infrastructure that now powers a huge portion of the internet. Elon Musk didn't stop with PayPal. He went on to build electric vehicles, rockets, and satellite communication systems. A true strategist quietly multiplies their territory until their influence becomes invisible, but absolute. You can do the same. Start small, an online skill, a local service, renting out a property, but build it as if it's the foundation of an empire. Remember this rule: one income source is survival. Multiple income sources are sovereignty. Protect the empire with silence. Once your empire begins to grow, you must protect it with structure, discipline, and silence. Speak less. Every time you talk about your plans, you invite interference. Machiavelli warned, "Do not reveal your wound until you are ready to strike." The silent builder protects his advantage by allowing others to believe he has none. In life, resist the temptation to brag, explain, or prove yourself. Let your work breathe for you. A man who talks too soon trades his leverage for applause, and applause is a terrible substitute for power. Mastery begins with mastering yourself. Now that your empire is protected by structure and privacy, the final step toward mastery appears. Not just mastery of wealth, but mastery of yourself. Machiavelli believed fortune constantly shifts with time, and those who adapt are the ones who rise. The final rule of becoming wealthy is this: evolve continuously in silence without seeking attention. Power is not a possession, it's a process. The moment you stop learning, your empire begins to decay. Surround yourself with curious people, not noisy ones. Choose those who measure success through growth, not through attention. Your circle should reflect the direction you are moving. If your friends chase empty fame, you will drown in distraction. If they pursue knowledge, you will rise with them. Machiavelli called this the law of proximity. He believed the quality of a ruler's advisors determines the fate of the kingdom. Knowledge is the real power. The greatest rulers in history gain power not from image, but from information. So study constantly. Read what others ignore. Learn the laws of money, the psychology of power, the cycles of markets. Warren Buffett spends several hours every day reading, not because he is old-fashioned, but because he understands that quiet knowledge compounds faster than capital. Every insight becomes another layer of protection for your wealth. Resist the temptation to chase every new trend. The impatient build castles on sand. The patient build fortresses on stone. Markets reward consistency far more than cleverness. This leads us to the final paradox. The most powerful people often look completely ordinary. A true strategist does not need to be seen. When you stand in a store or a bank, no one should know how much control you actually possess. Real power is invisibility. It is knowing that your independence cannot be threatened. Your wealth cannot be easily measured. Your peace cannot be purchased. To the outside world, you are simply another person going to work, returning home, and living quietly. But behind closed doors, you are managing your dynasty, investing, learning, building, protecting. While others perform for attention, the silent ones build legacies. Machiavelli understood this better than almost anyone. He warned that people envy those above them, yet they also disrespect those who appear too humble. The solution is to play both roles. Appear humble. Live above envy. That is the art of hidden power. The less people see, the more they speculate. The less you explain, the more mysterious your control becomes. Silence becomes your signal. Patience becomes your armor. The modern world screams for attention, but fortune visits the quiet ones. So the next time you feel tempted to show off, remember this: kings do not announce their achievements. They allow history to do it for them. The greatest victories happen in silence. The deal closed quietly. The habit built in isolation. The discipline nobody applauds. These are the invisible rituals that separate the wealthy from the restless. And remember, fortune favors the disciplined, but it stays only with the careful. Protect your time, your peace, and your anonymity as fiercely as your money, because those are the true currencies of power. Now that you understand the game, it's time to make your choice. If you want to learn the next strategies of power and continue building your legacy, subscribe to the channel and like the video so these principles can reach more people.